right, so let's go ahead and get started. So thanks for coming to the Boost Your Productivity with Google Apps information session. My name is Nick, and I'm the Google Student Ambassador for Cornell and a past intern. And off to the side, Jacob Denk, who's going to be helping out a bit, and he's also a past Google intern. So today we're going to be talking about the Google Apps suite. And apps is a combination of things. I'll be focusing on two in particular. That's Google Docs and Google Calendar. So Docs is kind of this big group of things that you can use to work on your documents online. So you can do word processing, spreadsheets, presentations, and forms. I won't really be talking too much about presentations and forms, but you can notice that this slide presentation itself is using Google Docs. That's kind of fun. So let's talk about Google Docs. The idea of Google Docs is to have a world without attachments. So I'm sure that some of you have had the problem before where you work on a document and you save it on your computer and then you forget your computer at home, or you don't save it on a flash drive, or you don't have the document with you when you go to another computer. So Google Docs tries to avoid those problems. And you can access your documents anywhere. You don't need to have anything with you. All you do is open up a web browser, Chrome, Firefox, et cetera, and you can work on your documents directly online. So you don't need to have anything saved with you. So that's one nice thing. A big part of Google Docs is the ability to collaborate very easily with friends, classmates, professors, what have you. So I'll be doing a quick demonstration in a little bit to show how it looks, but first I'll just go through the main ideas of Google Docs. So it's designed to be clean and easy to use. And so for example, one thing that I use it for and some of my friends use it for is to take notes in class. So you have your laptop open in a lecture hall, and you can just take notes online really quick. I don't need anything special. Any computer works. All your documents are in one place and searchable. So if you're taking notes in a class and you want to go back and find the place where you were talking about the Industrial Revolution, you can do a full text search among your documents. Not really possible when you're taking notes by hand. You can't really search among paper that you write on your own. You have revision history, so you can go back and see how your document has evolved over time, how it looked at any particular moment in time. And so if you make a change that you don't like and you'd like to go back to the way things looked a few days ago, you can go back and do that. As I said, it's web-based, which means that you can access your work anywhere. And the big thing here is you don't need to worry about having backups. So if your computer crashes, if your hard drive stops working, if your flash drive gets run over by a car, it's okay because everything is online and it's stored for you. So collaboration. In the past, the way this worked is if you're working in a group of people, either for a project or maybe something for fun, the way it would work is you would come up with a document and then you'd save it as a file, email it over to somebody else, and then there would be all these multiple versions of the file, and so you'd have to wonder about whether you had the latest version. And so Google Docs eliminates that problem because what's online is the most up-to-date, and it's the current version. So nobody has to worry about whether they have an old version. And the really cool thing is that everybody can work on the same document at the same time, in real time. And this is particularly helpful for group projects, times when multiple people are going to be working on the same document at a time. So what I'm going to do is open up a window and show you how the Docs looks like. So at Cornell, the way we use Docs is every Cornell student has a CMail account. So your NetID at cornell.edu, and the way you log into that is going to CMail. And so this is what it looks like. So logging in here gets you all of your email, which you're probably familiar with. But if you look at the top, toward the top left, you have this bar of additional things that you can use. And so documents, clicking that will open up the main document interface. Okay? So that is how docs looks. So you have a central area where you have all the documents you have sorted by the time you last changed them. And so I can do a search for documents relating to Google, and I have all of those shown up here. You can think of all sorts of examples where this would be handy. On the left, on the very left of the screen, we have something called collections, which you can think of as folders where you can put your documents in and organize them. So for example, one class that I'm taking, I have a variety of notes that I've taken from that class during the semester, and I have all of them here. So this is the main docs interface. So what we're going to do is open up a few samples, just so you can see how it looks like. So here's a document that I worked on, where I did an essay for a Spanish class. So as you can see, this looks like the sort of word processing environment you're used to. It's all through your browser, so really nice. Okay. So that's one document. If you are taking notes and there are some mathematical formulas you'd like to include, there's something called the equation editor, which you can play with and put in all sorts of mathematical equations that look really nice, and so forth. Okay, so here I am typing, and that comes in handy. So let us go and suppose I'm working on a report for one of my classes, and this is a group project, suppose, and multiple people are going to be working on it at the same time. So what I'm going to do is ask Jacob to open up this document with me, and we're going to start editing it together in real time. And so notice what's going to happen. Right now it's just me, and so the screen is just blank. When Jacob opens up the document, I will see a little notification saying that Jacob is now here. So let's see. Okay, there we go. So at the top I now see that Jacob's opened this. And so right now we're only demonstrating this with one other person, but you can imagine a situation where we have a whole group of 6 or 7 people who all have this open at once. And the nice thing is here that if I open up on the side, I can actually chat with the people who are working on this document at the same time. So this is really nice if you're not in the same room. Maybe if you're in different areas of the country and you're working on a report or on a document. This is really helpful. So I can say like, "Hi there," and Jacob will see that and he can answer that. So if there are multiple people, they'd all be here. So I can see where Jacob is right now in the document. This little pink cursor says that's where he's editing things. So the cool thing is that now we can go to a particular section of the document and start editing it in real time. So what I'm going to do is create a new section to my report. Let's call it section, and I'm going to start typing things. This is okay. And so what Jacob can do is start editing at the same time, and while he's doing that, I can continue to make other changes. Okay. So this is really cool, and it makes document editing and processing a lot more interactive. And it's almost like having something on paper where you're all working on the same thing at the same time, but now it's all in the computer, and everything that you used to be able to do with a word processor, now you can do like this, and you can collaborate in real time. So you can think of the various ways that this is useful. There's really no practical limit to how many people can be working on a document at the same time. It gets fun when it's over 100 You can try that and see what happens. But it's very cool. So that's the main collaborative interface. So the question is, okay, so I have a document and I want to invite a friend of mine to work with this document. So the question is, how do I do that? If you look at the top right, there's a button that says Share, and that is how I can invite people. So you add a person. Suppose I want to invite my friend Alec to this. Okay, maybe include a message. And that's all there is to it. So all I have to do is add him to the people who can edit it. I can specify whether he's able to change the document, or maybe I want to make it so that he can only look at it without making any changes. This is nice if you're kind of the person who's in charge of making edits and you just want other people, suppose in your group, to be able to see what you've done. Okay. And so when I click share, Alec is going to get an email saying Nick has shared this document with you. And that's all there is to it. So if someone already has a Cornell a student's email account, they can click that link, log in, and they'll be able to edit this directly. If someone has a Gmail account, they can also do that. If someone has a separate email account, then they have to take a few minutes and create a Google account, and then they can go in and access it. That's a one-time thing, and it's pretty quick to do. So the overall picture is that if somebody has an email address, then you can share a document with them. So that's the main idea. Very friendly interface. If you'd like to save a little bit of screen space, maybe your laptop screen is kind of small, you can take away some of the Google logo at the top and do something called compact controls. So now we have a little bit more space to work with. And then if I make my screen completely full screen, then what I see here is I can pretty much I can't really tell that I'm in a browser. So this looks just like a program that I'm running on my computer. This is very nice, and I have lots of space to work with. Okay. So that's the docs interface. Another cool thing that you can do, if you're making a document and you think that someone already has done something like this, maybe you're making an invitation to a party, maybe you're making a flyer, suppose you're a residential advisor on campus and you're working on something that you'd like to send out to your residents, you can actually look up templates where people have decided that they made something cool and then they sent it to Google so that everyone can use it. And so what I can do is look up existing templates. Let's see. The internet is having trouble. Okay, so we're having trouble getting templates up. Okay, I can come back to that. So, all right. So that was Google Documents. We can also do additional things besides just docs. We can also make spreadsheets. And this works in a way that you'd expect. So here I have a spreadsheet. Looks just like something that you're probably familiar with. I can put stuff in cells. I can do very sort of complicated things. And so here's one example of a spreadsheet that we use at what's an organization that I'm part of. Just something to keep track of finances. And so this is really nice because just like you can share documents with other people, you can also share spreadsheets with other people. And so you can actually have multiple people working on the same spreadsheet at a time. And so, for example, if Jacob were here, I would actually see a little colorful border around the cell telling me that Jacob is entering the cell. And in the same way, I can have a chat on the side. So again, the collaboration is something that's part of any document or spreadsheet that you edit with Google Docs. So here we can see that Jacob is editing the cell, and I can also edit at the same time. I can delete this cell, and again. So really cool. You can edit it at the same time. All right. So in addition to doing spreadsheets, what we can do is something called forms. So if you came to the session, you probably saw a sign-up form that looks kind of like this. Okay, so you put your name and maybe additional information in here. And so this is something called Google Forms, and the interface to make forms is really relatively easy to use. I'm not going to talk about it a whole lot, but I'd be happy to answer questions afterward. But the nice thing is that when somebody puts in a form submission, what I see is a spreadsheet with all the contents. So I have all the fields that are in my form in a spreadsheet interface. And so this is really cool because now I don't really have to worry about managing data. I don't really have to worry about people sending me responses. It's really easy. They just go to the form, type in information, and I see the updates on my spreadsheet. If you have a bunch of people doing submissions at the same time, you don't have to have your inbox flooded with people sending you responses. Your spreadsheet automatically adds rows and grows as people answer your questions. So I'll just do a really quick demo of the form editor. And so this is what I saw when I was making the form. I can add in a question, which could either be just multiple choice, it could be a checkbox. There are various sort of complex things that I can do here. And so I can say, what is your favorite color? Maybe give people some options, and so on and so forth. Okay. You can separate your form into multiple pages. That way, if there are a lot of questions to ask people, they don't see a screen full of questions and get frightened. You can break it up into multiple pages. You can also do selective navigation. If you look down here, there's an option that says go to page based on answer. So what I can say is, if someone chooses red as their favorite color, maybe I'll direct them to a particular path, and they'll have some different questions that they'll have to answer, and so on and so forth. So pretty flexible, a lot of cool things that we can do here. So again, we can collect information very quickly and very easily. So that's forms and spreadsheets. Okay. So now let's talk a little bit about calendar. So calendar is a really incredible tool that helps you get your academic and social lives organized. And it works just like a calendar, as you might expect. Just like Google Docs, it's all available online. So you can keep track of your schedule. You can set up reminders. In true collaborative style, you can share events with friends and family, invite people to your events, which I'll show in just a second. And the cool thing is that if you have a phone with internet access, you can go on and sync your calendar with your phone. And so I know that people probably can't see this that well. I'd be happy to show it afterward. But you can see that I have my calendar on my phone. And if I make changes online, I can also see the changes on my phone. Similarly, if I add an event on my phone, it shows up on my computer. So let us take a look at my calendar. Okay. So this is how my calendar looks. You can see that there are some events that represent classes. There are a variety of other things. Tomorrow is Slope Day. I'm sure everybody's really excited about that. So let's take a closer look at what this interface allows me to do. Say I want to create a study session for Saturday night. So I just click and drag, and that's my event. Okay, so creating events is really quick, really easy, really straightforward. And say I'd like to push it back a little bit, just change it that way. So real easy to make changes. And now the really cool thing is that say I want to invite some people to my event, and I want to keep track of who is coming and who is not coming. So I can do that. Let's say the event is at Man Library. And here on the right, I can type in emails of my friends who I'd like to invite to the study session. So suppose I want to invite Jacob over there to this event. Okay, so I invite him, and maybe there's some other people that I can invite, and that's it. So now what's going to happen is Jacob is going to get an email in his inbox saying, Nick has invited you to this particular event, and if he uses calendar on that email address, then he'll actually see the event on his own calendar, which is really cool. If he doesn't use calendar, he'll still get an email, and he can click yes or no, maybe add some more details. So you don't have to have calendar to actually be able to respond to events like that. So did you get it? Cool. And so now I can go into my event details and see, yep, Jacob said that he is going. So this is really nice because it provides you with positive feedback or maybe negative feedback on your event attendees. So everybody, anybody can create an event and invite other people. There's no limit on how many people you can invite. So if it's a really big party, go wild. Now, the really cool thing is that if I have some close friends or maybe professional colleagues who I'd like to be able to see my own calendar. So this is useful, for example, if you're in a workplace setting and you'd like everybody to know what's going on in your workday, or if you just have some really close friends that you want to make sure that they know what's going on in your life and vice versa. So what you can do is share calendars with other people. And so this is my calendar, but suppose I want to look at my friend Ben's calendar. Okay, so now I see his calendar overlaid with mine, and this is really cool because it makes it sort of a lot easier to be able to plan events. Now I can say, oh well, if I wanted to plan an event on Wednesday, for example, well, I'm busy here, but Ben is free all from here, so I don't have to keep asking him, well, are you free after 4? Okay, how about 5? How about 6? It's really nice to be able to just pull a schedule up and see it like this. Ben has made it so that I don't actually see the details of his events. So it's kind of a restricted view. All I can see is that he's busy. So another friend of mine, his name is Alec, made it so that I can actually see all the events and their details. So this is Alec's calendar with all the details. And what I can do is turn on all 3 and start making calendar art. And there are a lot of cool things that we can do here. You probably don't want to look at this all at once, but the possibility is there. So what I can also do is give somebody permission to actually put things directly on my calendar. And so if Jacob wants to create an event on Saturday, maybe during the day or something, you can just create that, and in a short while, it'll actually appear all automatically on my calendar. Okay. So what I can also do is set up automatic alerts so that if an event is coming up, I can create a reminder, have it send me an email a few minutes beforehand. If I'm using calendar on my computer at the time, it'll actually show a little pop-up message saying, oh, your event is starting in a few minutes. I can also add a cell phone and have it send me text messages. So if you don't have a phone that has internet, but maybe you get texting, this is one nice way to also integrate it with calendar because you get information on alerts. Okay. So now if I look at my calendar again, we see that Jacob added an event on my calendar. I certainly didn't add it, but now it appears all automatically. And if I decide, oh no, let's make it 12 instead, then when he goes and looks at my calendar, you'll also see that update. So again, the concept of having a calendar is, goes back for quite a while, but it's really awesome to be able to have it online and in a way that's interactive and that allows you to collaborate with other people. So calendar has definitely helped me and a variety of my friends keep our lives organized this semester. So I'm really happy about it. Okay. So that's calendar. And just to go through some of the things that I talked about, you can create events, you can share your calendar with other people, you can make it so that you invite people to your events, you can set up reminders. One thing that I didn't mention is that you can have multiple calendars. So here I have kind of one main calendar, but I can also break it up and maybe say my classroom calendar versus my, everything else social calendar. So you can just create a new calendar, say social events, and now I see a new calendar appear in the bottom left, and when I create a new event, I can say, oh, that event actually goes on this particular calendar. Okay, and you can change the colors as you wish. You have that flexibility. So we can have multiple calendars. A really useful thing is to have a calendar for an organization. So for example, if you have a club that has occasional meetings during the month, you can create a club calendar and then send the link out to your membership. And then that way, everybody sees what's happening. They can't make any changes, but they're informed. So for example, one organization that I'm part of has occasional meetings, sometimes every week, sometimes not. And I can choose to turn on that calendar, and then I just see those events in my calendar view. So that's really nice. But that is calendar. And so if there are any questions about documents or calendar, I'd be happy to answer. Otherwise, I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming.
Did you want to try the template? Okay, or?
No, I think templates are having issues. So yeah, I'm not really sure what's up with that.
I think I haven't heard of template. What is that function?
So templates is the ability to have a document based on a pre-existing layout. So let's actually see if it's working. So when you go to create a new document, so normally what would happen is you would just get a blank screen and you can start typing. What you can also do is go and create a new document.
Turn on your email, resume, or some kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I guess something's not really working with that. But what's that? Can you? Yeah, I think they just kind of, yeah, it came up good. Okay. So for example, I can search for as an advisor, and here is a document that one college uses for resident advisors to keep track with their supervisor. So if I don't want to have to recreate this form, or I see that it's kind of useful, I can go ahead and use this template and go from there. Okay. So it's just a really easy way to save yourself some work and maybe use a cool design that someone else has created.
So that was the forms template?
Yeah, that was a forms template. You can also have documents templates and spreadsheet templates.
Right.
So if we look at the template page, you see a lot of templates for managing your finances, your family budget. So here are a bunch of spreadsheet templates that you can use to keep track of your budget. And so if I want to start using this, I can just click on Use this template. And then what's going to happen is I can start editing it, and it becomes my own spreadsheet, my own account. So here it is. I can start changing the numbers. I'm very rich, so I have a lot of money. But I didn't actually get enough. So for example, those are the sorts of things you can do. And you can kind of filter by categories, and who knows, maybe you'll find something cool. So you can also look at various sorts of drawings. So drawings is actually something that I didn't talk about a lot. In addition to being able to make documents and spreadsheets, you can also make a drawing. And so this is kind of cool because you can take these drawings and then include them in your document or in your spreadsheet. So you can do all sorts of cool things. I'm not a great artist, even on the computer, but this is a really nice way to kind of make small diagrams that you want to include in your documents. And in a similar fashion, you can take this diagram and send it to other people, share it with others, so that you can have multiple people working on the same drawing, which is kind of cool. So, but yeah, so that's what templates are. They're a pretty useful feature. I'm not sure how to submit templates. So for example, if you create something cool, I'm not really sure how you would go about saying, oh, I'd like to make this available for other people to use.
Actually, I do have two questions that
Sure.
I'm going to ask you about.
Yeah,
So,
go for it.
I've had two problems. One was with spreadsheets. Like I used it to organize my family's gift giving for Christmas. Okay. And they just actively upload whatever. Maybe, probably not what they bought, but like maybe cross things off incidentally as they might fit, and also add things as they sharp them. But my parents don't have Google accounts, and so they had to make them. But it was like, but actually that was a bit too complicated for them. So I just went back to you can email them a link, and anyone can update it as the link. And I found a bunch of anonymous people who were wanting access to that. And I don't know how it got out. I'm pretty sure no one. It was just the four of us.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So that is definitely a feature that you can send out a link to somebody by email, and they don't actually have to create an account. They can just click on that link and start editing. I'm not really sure
How to lose a random internet user.
Yeah, I mean, so you can make it private so that only people with the link can click on it. Maybe what might have happened is maybe they accidentally opened it twice in the same browser, and so it appeared multiple times. But other than that, I'm not really sure what a possible explanation is.
I think it might be a big view, and then, for example, if I have a document open and then I open a shared link in the browser or in the tab, I sometimes confuse myself by being anonymous. So it's just me twice, but it looks as if somebody else in there as well.
Yeah, only I knew that they weren't accessing the thing at the time, but I had been using it, I could ask my friends.
Okay.
So I really saw it.
As Nick said, that you weren't logged in for months or
Yeah.
Gmail account.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't absolutely validate that, but I don't think that's the issue. So it's cool.
But if that happens again, definitely let me know, and I will see if that happens. So that was your first question.
Yeah, the other was like I use Google Documents sometimes to like print something off of it, and then it PDF prints it every time, and then you print from this.
Yes.
And the margins get shipped around a bunch.
Yeah, so the margins.
So I'm going to predict that because I've had to do some kind of interesting.
Right, so the margins is a problem. How long have you had this issue?
I actually printed from that much. I think this happened like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, margins are something that recently got kind of weird, but it'll probably get fixed. What I would suggest now is you can always save it as a PDF, and hopefully the margins won't get screwed up that way. Yeah, printing is kind of interesting because you kind of want to make the browser think that it's directly a document. And so in Chrome, actually, what you can do now is if you have the latest version of Chrome, you can go to print, and there's no PDF generation at all. It goes directly to a print window, which is really cool. So now that eliminates the step of having to download the PDF.
So it will actually print through a printer now.
Yeah, it'll print directly. I'm not sure if this works with Firefox yet.
Does it just not show you that step? Is it still PDF printing it?
There's some really complicated technical stuff happening behind the scenes.
Okay.
But there is actually no PDF involved. I'm actually not sure how it works entirely.
Yeah. I mean, usually I wouldn't be so picky, but I was putting my resume on Google Docs just
Oh,
in case,
sure,
like,
yeah.
I lose my flash
Right.
copy on
Right.
or something.
Yeah.
And so I was checking to see everything lined up. I noticed like things were shifting left and right, and so I had to like trick it. I actually got it right, but it was just
Right.
putting in phantom tab spaces.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something a work in progress sometimes. One other thing that I should mention though is you can upload arbitrary files. So for example, you can upload PDF files themselves. And so, for example, I can upload this file, and then, so this is a problem stuff that I turned in. And now I have this just as a regular file in here. It's not something that I can edit in Google Docs, but it's just file storage, which is really cool because now if you have some I don't know, you have some image and you want to store it on here. So you can think of a variety of cases where this is kind of cool.
It looked like it was latex to PDF.
Yeah, exactly. So you can actually go in and have it. Well, some files, I guess you can do that. I guess with PDF it doesn't work. But yeah, you can like have access to the original files and everything. So there's no limit on how many documents and spreadsheets you can create in Google Docs. There's a size limit of files that you upload. I think it's a gigabyte right now. But it's really cool because what you can do is upload files and then share those files with people. So in addition to sharing your docs, you can share just the files themselves. So for example, if you're a student organization, and here's one example that I can think of because it's something that we actually use for an organization that I'm part of. So taking pictures of receipts or scanning receipts. And so if you want to keep track of the co-finances, you can scan the receipts, put them in images, and then put them on docs.
Like express reimbursements.
Yeah, exactly. And the cool thing is that, well, you might not want to have to share each individual image with people. And so what you can do is you can stick it in a collection, and then share that collection with people. So for example, what I did with Jacob is I have this entire folder called Google Apps, and he sees all of these files automatically. So for example, Jacob, can you go to this folder and create just a new document there or something? And so what happens is when he creates a new document in that folder, I'll automatically see it. So he doesn't have to share it with me explicitly. So that's really cool.
Instead of having to go item by item, it just does it.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's really nice because you can make changes to this folder. What you have is a virtual synchronized folder among a variety of people. So you can see where that's really helpful.
If you search in the top, will it search titles and content?
That's a good question. I think that it will definitely search titles, and it will also search content. So
we can search.
Let's see if I search for usernames. Right. So in this file, I mentioned the word usernames a few times right here. And so searching that had it come up. Maybe something that's a little bit more convincing is if I go to one class that I have and look up the word authentication, you can see that it appears many times in a class about security.
Sure.
So, but yeah, so to answer your question, it searches both titles and content.
Thanks.
But yeah, so for example, Jacob made a document in that file, or in that folder, a collection, and it automatically appeared here. So this is really cool. And so there are a lot of things you can do with it. But yeah, so if there are no other questions.
Maybe I have one more.
Sure.
Is it possible, I use a Gmail account I made 6 years ago, I think it was. I think someone mentioned that they thought they had made it so that they send it from, it's like their name at Gmail, but it appears if it comes from their Gmail account, their NetID at Cornell.
So that's a good question. If you have a regular Gmail account, you can set up additional email addresses that you own, and you can actually send from different email addresses.
Okay, so not just receive, but
yeah, exactly. So for example, if I open up my my Gmail account, which is it's a Google Apps account on my own domain. When I'm sending an email, here's my standard email. But I can also actually say, oh, send it from my Cornell address. Okay, and so that's really nice because now, if you're already using Gmail, for example, you might not want to switch to Cmail. That's totally understandable. But now you can send things as your Cornell address and keep it all in one place. Some people like to keep it separately. I like to have it all in the same place and just use labels to keep myself organized.
And under what tab would I find that?
Good question. So Let us go to settings. So you go to accounts, and here we have something that says send mail as. And so you can add another email address, and what'll happen is it'll send you a little confirmation and say, oh, click this to make sure that you actually have access to this email. And then after that, you can start sending from it. Yeah, so that's definitely a really helpful feature. So, okay. All right. So, thank you for coming to the session. I hope that answered people's questions.